The system is telling me to go live. Hey guys, what's cooking? How's everybody doing? Ready for show 227? I hope so. We got a good day going ahead of us here today, so we're gonna be looking at a lot of cool things. Please let me know if you can hear me, see me, all the good stuff as per usual, just to make sure that we're communicating as we should. I had made a couple of changes yesterday with the system, and I just want to make sure everything's working properly because sometimes things do go a little haywire. So I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to show 227. As you know, I'm here to entertain you for about an hour or so, so I hope I can do that. I hope you guys are ready to chit chat with me a little bit and engage in some cool gear chat, because that's why we're here. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. Don't be shy. Please jump into the chat. I think there's a lot of familiar faces here already, which is good. I was almost late today, guys. I don't know why. My watch is like half an hour late. And I'm looking at the timer on the system here, and it's like, it's counting down. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's only 10. And then I'm looking at the clock, and it's actually 10:30. I'm like, oh, good thing I'm paying attention. Anyways, I made it. That's the important thing. So welcome to everybody that's already here. I hope more people are going to trickle in as time goes on. I think everybody's probably getting ready for the big Thanksgiving celebrations tomorrow. I hope you guys have something interesting planned. There was a little mock poll that I posted in the waiting room just asking, you know, who's getting ready for turkey tomorrow. But that's not actually the real poll question. The real poll question was in the community section, and I hope you guys got that one too. If you didn't, please take a moment to answer that question. And we're going to jump right in. So good morning. We're going to be here for about an hour. So get ready for that. Things are going to move fast. So let me just check the turkey poll question. Just give me a second on that one. In the meantime, guys, please remember you do have to subscribe to be able to chat. I know a lot of you guys are regulars here, you know that. But I just repeat it for any of the newcomers. Lately there has been some new names, which is great to see, and I encourage that. If you want to encourage the channel, as I always say, please give us a thumbs up during the live chats. You can always do a super chat, or you can just spread the word. All of that is appreciated. All right, let me just jump onto the YouTube channel here and just take a look at the poll. If it's still there, should be. I'm not making turkey. We usually don't do turkey here at my house. It is a lot of work to prepare, and to be honest, I'm not a big fan of turkey, but maybe it's just because we don't know how to prepare it properly. So maybe that's part of the reason why. Let's see here, live question. Let me just go into that. Of course, there's advertisements. All right, so the turkey question here, apparently 75% of you say no, you're not going to be preparing turkey. Only 25% of you say yes, you can't. Well, actually 27%. So 23% said no, too much trouble. 27 said yes, I can't wait. So I guess turkey is not necessarily a big item for you guys. So I'm not the only one. Let's say hi to the boys. Let's jump right in. SB's here. Hi all. He says, hope everyone had a nice week. Yeah, I had a pretty decent week. It was decent because it went by quick and it's a long weekend. So I definitely am giving thanks for the long weekend. J. Paul says, good morning, Gear Addicts. Hey, J. Paul. Nice to see you, man. Jack is here. Says good morning. Cushman Profile Productions. SB had a question. He says, Gene, I kind of like Nashville Telecasters from Squire. Strat body and Nashville wiring stuff, but I'm not at a point of owning 2 guitars. But that Squire does look interesting. You're not at a point of owning 2 guitars. I respect that. I respect that. It'll come. So as SB also is congratulating J. Paul on the new speaker. So I may have missed that while I was getting ready for the show. Jack says he's still playing my Epiphone Dot with the big headstock. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of people own those. SB jumped ahead of me on this question. Anyone has something exciting to tell in terms of new gear? I'm sure a lot of you do, so we'll jump right into that and get some answers. I did post the question in the waiting room. Not the question. I posted the link to my last video that I uploaded yesterday. I don't usually upload videos on Saturday. I usually like to do that on the week, during the week. But yesterday I said, what the hell? And I uploaded it yesterday around 6 o'clock. It was basically the review of this guitar. I did the unveiling of this guitar. And for those of you who haven't been tuning in, you may not have seen this last week, but this is a brand new guitar from Donner. It's a really cool guitar. It's called the Versa Sonic. No S's. They replaced the S's with the Z's. And I did a full review. I posted it on my channel and I included the link in the waiting room today because I felt maybe some of you may have missed it. It's a great guitar. I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute, but we'll continue with the salutations here. Paul mentions, he says, I watched the video right after it was posted. It is not on any of the usual 4 sites it should show up on. The reason for that, Paul, is because the guitar is brand new. It's just been released. So they probably don't have it available just yet, but it will pop up. Just be patient. You'll see it there. And my recommendation, if anybody does like this guitar and is interested in getting this guitar, don't wait, because I think they're going to go out of stock very, very fast. J. Paul says the Donner Tony review demands respect for well under $300. Nice little guitar. Yeah, man. You know, J. Paul, you know, I don't understand why more guitar companies, big guitar companies, can't do it. I mean, obviously it can be done, right? These guys in China are making really nice guitars. This, to me, is a really nice guitar. It's not perfect, but, you know, no guitar is perfect. But I do feel that for $300, man, I could play these guitars all day long. It is an AZ kind of knockoff, I'm going to say. Like, maybe knockoff is not the right word. Maybe homage is the best word for it. Like, if you look at the Ibanez AZ models, there's a lot of similarities. But the guitar is really rock solid for $300, man. It has all the features I like. Body shape, design. Sometimes, you know, you get these guitars that have like quirky looks to them. They're not necessarily like, they're nice guitars, but there's always something that I don't like. Maybe it's the headstock design, maybe it's, you know, the color or the shape of the pickguard or whatever. You know, it's basically, sometimes there's just one thing that just throws me off. But on this guitar, I like all of it. It's really nice. By the way, I was doing a little setup on this guitar before the show started, just because when I did the review on the guitar, it was basically, I was playing it like basically out of the box. I didn't adjust anything. Didn't adjust the height of the pickups or the height of the saddles or adjust the bridge or anything. It was just, I pulled it out of the box and started to play it. So there was a few little things that were required in terms of setup, and those things are things that I do on all my guitars. So basically I leveled out the bridge because it was really decked. It was like at an angle. The saddles were like really at a steep angle also. They were like jacked up. And that didn't please me very much. And then of course, you know, the string heights and all that kind of stuff. So I adjusted it. It's much better now. And some of you did have questions on the guitar that I wanted to answer. I think somebody had asked me what the weight on the guitar was. Was that you, Peter? I don't remember. I think it might have been Peter. Anyway, somebody asked me the weight on the guitar. The weight on the guitar is about 7 pounds. So, very respectable weight. I don't like heavy guitars, and I know a lot of the guitars that are sort of budget guitars, lower end guitars, tend to be heavy. This one's 7 pounds, so it's pretty good. Ian wants to know if they're ceramic pickups. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these pickups are ceramic. Yes. And that I mentioned in the video as well. I think the only thing that I would maybe consider, but I do that on almost all of my guitars, is upgrade the pickups. But the bridge pickup sounds nice, and so do the single coils, even though they're ceramic pickups. And I don't really have a big issue with ceramic pickups, to be honest with you. Some of them sound really good. You know, I think they get a bad rap because they're always associated with sort of inferior or budget pickups, because the budget pickups tend to be ceramic, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they sound bad. Eddie, I don't think I'm going to be putting a Vega Trem on this one. I don't think so. Not this time. By the way, I left the cavity off in the back, the plate here, just so I can show you. I made a little bit of a mess here when I was cleaning, when I was setting up my guitar. I had some smuts on the guitar. But anyway, here's a little close-up view for you guys. You can see the size of that block. I don't know if you can make it out. Very clean in there. There's no unsightly, messy things, and the block is quite big. And that is something that you don't always see on budget guitars. So I was happy to see that. I just pulled out my... All right, here we go. Yeah, it's a decent block in there, Vinny. Again, sometimes you see the blocks are really, really thin and they're made out of pot metal. This one doesn't look like it. So that's another big advantage, I think. Shane says, problem with these guitars is that beginners buy them that probably don't know the adjustments they need. I think that's common with a lot of beginner players. They don't really know how to adjust a guitar. So they just play the guitar and struggle with it, thinking that, you know, there's nothing to be done, when in actual fact, there's lots to be done. I highly recommend guitars having a setup when you buy a guitar. If you don't know how to do it yourself, bring it to a tech that you trust, and you're going to get so much more enjoyment out of it. Marcel, I got this from Donner. So they actually sent one out to me to do the review. But they told me it was going to be released on October 10th. So basically, you should be seeing it pop up. I don't think you're going to see it on Amazon or eBay. Go to the Donner website and you should be able to see it there. Some of Leo Fender's pickups designs were ceramic at G&L. Yeah, that's true. There's some very good pickups that use ceramic. I don't think they should be poo-pooed, you know? D-Max says, I've been getting cramps in my fretboard thumb when playing a Squier Telecaster, but not when I play a Mexican Telecaster. The neck doesn't seem much different at all. It's weird. This ever happened to you? I never had cramps in my fretboard thumb. I'm joking, D-Mac. I know what you mean. You're getting cramps in your fretting hand, in your thumb of your fretting hand, when you're playing the Squier Telecaster, but not when you're playing a Mexican. My opinion on that, and I could be wrong because I'm not a doctor, but the Telecaster fretboards and necks, actually it's more the neck, the profile on the neck on a Squire are thinner. And I think it's really the thinness, and it's not by much. It could be just millimeters, but having a thinner neck sometimes will put more stress in your fingers in different ways. And I think the Mexican Telecaster, if I'm not mistaken, has regular C-shaped neck, and that could be enough for why you're getting your cramps in your thumb. But you know, playing usually will get you used to it the more you play the guitar, and it should go away. J. Paul says, I have a popular body Donner, put a Fender roasted maple neck and loaded pick HH pickguard with Alnico 5 and 6 screw floated with big ass block. So you basically modded the heck out of your guitar. and now is it to your liking, J. Paul? Sometimes that's all you need to do, is just a little bit of TLC. Why is my thing over here? I'm all tangled up here. Davis says he's been having troubles with different neck profiles as well. He says he loves his PRS, but for me the neck profile causes me pain. So I'm finding that I just need to play guitars comfortable to me. That is the key, of course, when you're choosing a guitar, is to choose a guitar that's comfortable to you, obviously. You don't want to struggle with your guitar. And it is true that some like very minor changes in just dimensions of the neck, profile of the neck. Sometimes guitars have more of a shoulder on the neck here. That's enough to make it feel weird. And I notice it more when I go from one guitar to another. Like, I've been playing this guitar now for, a couple of days, doing the review and getting used to it and all that kind of stuff. And it's got a comfortable neck for sure. But when I take this guitar and put it away and then jump to another guitar, like maybe my PRS or a Les Paul or something like that, it'll feel really strange for a couple of minutes as I readjust to the neck on those guitars, because they are different. You don't really notice it until you're playing them side by side like that. Time Surfing Alien says, magnetism is the same no matter the source. Some magnets are stronger than others. Some lose their magnetism faster than others. I guess you're talking about the ceramic magnets as opposed to Alnico magnets on the pickups. I think what it boils down to, ceramic to Alnico, is basically the kind of attack you get out of it. I know that when you're dealing with different types of magnets, if you're going with an Alnico 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 8 or more, it's really the roundness of the tone, the attack, the sharpness. Ceramic magnets tend to have a little bit more of a bite and what I would consider a little bit more hair around the note. At least from what I can hear. And that doesn't necessarily make it bad. Like there's a lot of ceramic magnets that I like. Depends on the style of music that you're playing too, right? SB says, I will repost Peter's questions. Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Custom Vibrato Champ versus Tone Master Princeton. So we're doing a shootout here. Okay, let's see if I had to choose. I mean, they're both cool amplifiers. And take this with a big grain of salt, guys, because I haven't really tried one myself. But from what I heard, I'm not a big fan of the Tone Masters. That's just me. I really do like tubes better than transistor. So take that for what it is. So maybe the Vibrato Champ would be a good choice. I love the Princetons, don't get me wrong. But I don't think I'd buy a Tone Master. Plus, I think you can get Tone Masters for less money than a full-blown tube Princeton, but I don't think they're going to hold value. I think in a year or two, we're going to see a lot of those Tone Masters being like liquidated. People are going to be trying to get rid of them. Whereas Princetons tend to stay and gain value. The prices on those Princetons went up, man. It's hard to find a Princeton for under $1,400 here in the wild. Paul says a few of the Duncans are ceramic and some of those are exotic, pricey metal jobbies. I think a lot of people that are after metal or pickups that offer more gain will probably have at least one pickup that is going to be ceramic, because you tend to see them more on pickups that have more output for whatever reason. And I'm not a professional when it comes to pickups. Maybe if we have somebody here that winds their own pickups, they can answer the questions as to why, but it's just something that I've noticed. Mississippi Blues, how you doing? He says, hi Tony and all, new guitar day, a Gibson Les Paul Standard 60s in a dirty lemon burst. Dirty lemon, love it. He says 10 pounds, 10 ounces. It's heavy, but I don't mind that. Do you have an ideal weight? 10 is heavy, man. 10 is heavy. I'm gonna I try to get guitars that are as light as possible. The lighter the better, in my opinion. 7 pounds is great if you can get one there. 8 pounds ish, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with a 10 pounds. 10 is like, that's heavy, man. How come it's so heavy? I guess it wasn't weight relieved. Have you tried playing it standing up for an extended amount of time, Mississippi Blues? Shane has a suggestion. He says, hey Tony, for your winter project, how about putting together an Ibanez gem kit? You know what? I have thought about doing that in the past. I used to be more into the Ibanez guitars. And, I love the gems. But I feel like those guitars are very tricky. Because Ibanez guitars to me are they're almost like sports cars. They're almost like souped up Hondas. Like you see these young guys that take a Honda and just soup the heck out of it, customize it. That's kind of how I picture those Ibanez gems. And if you buy a kit, they have to be well made because everything is important in terms of fit and finish on those guitars. And you're not really going to be able to get, unless you buy an original Ibanez gem bridge. If you get those knockoff bridges that you can get in those kits, they're not going to cut it. I'm telling you, you're going to have nothing but frustrations with those bridges. And if you buy a real one, they're very expensive. You're probably gonna pay about $300 minimum for one of those Ibanez bridges, those edge bridges. So for all those reasons, I'm like, yeah, I could build one, but I'm gonna be disappointed. I already know. Again, unless you put the money to get really high-end stuff, and at that stage, if you're gonna do that, you might as well just buy an RG. And just mod that. Something, that is almost there in terms of being a gem. I'm trying to catch up, guys, on the chats. I'm falling way, way behind here. Let me go to the bottom. So Eddie says, my Les Paul's over 10 pounds. I don't play it standing for very long. I don't blame you, man. I, even with my relatively lighter guitars. If I'm playing a session and we're rehearsing for like a 3-hour session, it does take a toll. So Mississippi Blue says, no weight relief. I'm not a gigging musician, so I do all my playing sitting down. So weight is never an issue for me. Well, that's great. So then you don't have any problems. So play the heck out of that guitar, man. Dirty Lemon. Love it. I love that. SB says, I'm not a pickup expert, but my friend streams pickup winding. He says, the more the wind, the more top end treble you lose, and ceramic is pretty strong magnet. That's one thing that I've mentioned before, SB, and a lot of people might not agree with me, but lower wound pickups seem to have more dynamics. It's a balancing act. You can have a hotter output with less dynamics, and you can have a lower wind with more dynamics. And it's really, you want to get somewhere in the sweet spot for the type of playing that you're doing. But I have some low wound pickups that sound really good. And a lot of people feel like more output is better. It's not always true. DMAX says, I really like the Vibro Champ. I've heard though that some have issues with screws, bolts, etc. not super tight from the factory and causing weird rattles or noises. Just something to be aware of. Even if that is true, and I don't know if that's going to be true with all of them, you know, that's something that could be an easy fix. Just, you can go in there and just tighten everything up, maybe put a little Loctite here and there on some of the key nuts and bolts that might come loose over time. Not a big issue. I wouldn't necessarily stay away from that if you like that amplifier just for those reasons. It's all fixable, in my opinion. Gene says, my gem has an FR1000 trem. I don't play it. Why don't you play it? Don't leave us hanging there, Gene. Gene, tell us why you don't play it. Mark says, I did a 3-hour gig the other night with the PRS, hollow body, piezo, and the Soulfire. Combined, they were probably the same some Les Pauls. Not sure what you mean. Same as some Les Pauls? You mean together? Like if you take the hollow body and the Soulfire and you put them together. I get you now. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've played some very heavy Les Pauls. And, you know, I like Les Pauls, but I don't like some of the weight. I like the ones I have, thankfully, have been weight relieved. Makes a big difference. Thanks, Mississippi Blues. I appreciate that. I'm glad you liked it. Paul says, Long and McQuaid have a Joe Satriani. It looks new, but is used. 530 Canadian. Big butt, no tremolo bar. Trying to find one is beyond difficult, and they want $80 plus for them. Couldn't you just get like an OEM, like an aftermarket version that would fit? Maybe you can't. Not really sure. Seems expensive for a little stick of metal. But everything is basically expensive these days. Shane says, don't fear the Floyd. You know, Shane, it's a love-hate relationship with Floyds. As I get older, I have less patience for them. So I kind of stay away from them. I haven't like scratched them off my list, but I kind of stay away from them. If I have a choice, I'll get something else. Marcel says, new guitar day. I went crazy these past 2 weeks and used my credit card too much. I can relate with that, Marcel. Prime Day should be damned. Yeah, it should be outlawed. So you got 2 Leo jams, a red and a green Flame One, and a West Creek red Telecaster, the TT20. Dude, that's awesome, man. He says, I foresee some tinkering in my future. Like I always say, it's always good to set up some projects for the long winter. And I think you're set up. That's great, man. Congratulations. Enjoy those guitars. Play the heck out of them. Why is my phone not on mute? So rude. Time Surfing Alien says, my Firefly needed a fret level and recrown. It wasn't bad. Took about an hour. Sometimes on the budget guitars, they do need a little bit more care. This one, I haven't actually checked the frets, but they seem to be okay. I don't have any buzzing on it. Although they could maybe use a little polish. But beyond that, I think they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Mark's on Team Hardtail. Yeah, you avoid a lot of problems when you have a hardtail. Cool Tunes says, Tony, eyeballing the SV20 2x12 matching cab for the SV20. Heard it's a V-type Celestians. I like the V-type. I mentioned to you that I have a V-type in that cabinet, the Egnator here. Sounds great. Good quality speakers. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with them. So I would go for it. I don't think you have to be worried. I was never disappointed with any of those V-type speakers. Mississippi Blue says, Tony, do you have any projects coming up? I do. As I had mentioned a couple of times, I got it here. Here, let me just put this guitar down and grab the other one. Give me a sec. Too many guitars here. Said no one ever. Trying to be very careful. This is the project that I have going on for the winter. This is going to be the Jimmy Page Dragon kind of homage guitar that I'm working on. I mentioned this previously. As you can see, it's all taped up for now, but I'm basically going to be making the holes for the ferrules and installing all of the hardware. And basically, this is not going to be an exact copy. It's just going to be similar to what Jimmy Page had. And I think it's going to be a cool project for the winter. This body was painted by my nephew in Italy and graciously given to me. And I'm going to finish up the guitar. I promised him I was going to finish it up. So that's going to be my winter project. Paul says, Tony got a hold of a guy who sells them. He said every year or two there's a different one, and it's typical to be shipped the wrong one. Even he doesn't promise. Really? Wow, man. Well, what about the FU Tone? I know they make a whole bunch of aftermarket products for Floyd Rose systems and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if they're compatible with the Ibanez guitars, but maybe you can contact them. Maybe they have something that could be a drop-in replacement. MFN says, I got my Gibson Les Paul Studio a few weeks ago because I was not playing my heavy Les Paul Standard. Love my Studio, and I'm considering selling my Standard. Wow, that is cool. I mean, like I always say, if you're not playing the guitars, there's a reason. The question is whether or not you want to hang on to it for sentimental reasons. You know, but often they just end up gathering dust, so you're better off just selling them and putting the money towards something else. So Mark says his favorite neck is a Soulfire neck. Perfection. When you find the right neck like that, isn't it great, Mark? What a feeling. You know you found it when you feel it, you know. The Sir Strat that I have has a really amazing neck on it. I'd love to be able to have that cloned and put on other guitars. Mind you, though, I have to say, believe it or not, the Donner guitar is pretty close. I don't know if they actually took that as a sample, but I have to play them side by side now that I think about it and just see how close they actually are, because it feels quite good, I gotta say. Presley says Leo Gems has a gem kit for $155. Scar my guitar, built one, and the trem looked and performed okay, and the pickups were even decent. Okay, cool. I gotta maybe check that out. Seems, I mean, if it is good, that's a great deal, because for 155 bucks, I mean, you're never gonna get a authentic Ibanez bridge for 155 bucks. It won't happen. Unfortunately. So I'm really surprised, and I mentioned it before, I'm surprised that a lot of other guitar manufacturers are not putting more attention on lower end guitars, like, the sub $500 mark, because I know they can be made. I mean, these companies like Donner are making them all the time, and it's just so disheartening that, Fender, Gibson don't focus on that. I went to my local Long and McQuaid yesterday. I had to pick up a few things, and I just took another look around, and I was really disappointed to see, like, you can't really get a decent guitar. The lower end, the lowest end in their line is about $800 before taxes. It's hard to find anything under that now. And, it's just weird to me, because Fender, when we were all locked down, had a big spike of sales in guitars. They made huge profits that year, or those couple of years. And a lot of people were playing guitar again because they were bored. They're stuck inside the house. The biggest jump was in guitars that were about the $500 price range. Think about that, man. So if they see that a lot of people are interested in buying those sub, $600 guitars, why don't they put more out? Really strange to me to see that. It's like it's written on the wall. Take advantage. Yesterday, man, I had like such bad sleep. I was wrecked. I woke up at 4 in the morning. I don't know why. Just like out of the blue. Couldn't go back to sleep. I don't know if that ever happens to you guys, but it throws your entire day off after that. I'm still recuperating. So the poll question that I had on my community channel was asking the question, when did you first start getting into electric guitars? And let me see if any of you actually answered the poll question. I think some of you did. Not as many, because I posted it a little bit late. But so the reason why I was asking is because I wanted to see where you guys fall into. What categories? Are you like early, did you start getting attracted to guitars when you were young, or did you only started later on in later years? So I'm looking at the results here, and it says that 50% of you started around 10 and 20, between 10 and 20 years old, which I feel is kind of par for the course, because a lot of people do get into guitars when the teenage years hit. Hormones, a little bit more freedom, girls, 10, 13, around those years, maybe some of you a little bit later. 30% of you, though, said between 5 and 10. And then 7 for 20 to 30, 30 to 40, or older. So the majority was 10 to 20, which I think is right. And then 30% of you, 5 to 10. I actually started getting interested in guitars, not playing necessarily, but first being attracted. I remember being attracted to guitars when I was probably about 8 years old, maybe even a little younger. I know my cousin had left a really cheap classical guitar at our house for my sister, and it was just lying around, and I'd strum it once in a while, and it wasn't a really good guitar. It was like very inexpensive, but I would play around with it, and I remember like popping a string and then trying to figure out like how I would play it with strings missing. I didn't even know where to get strings for guitars like that back in the day or anything. So I wasn't really playing guitar, was more just curious about it. And I remember going over to a friend of mine's house who had an older brother who played music, and he had an acoustic guitar, and he had it lying in the corner of his room, which he shared with his brother. And I would go over as a young kid, probably 8 years old or so, and we'd play with, his race car set track, or, the Rock'em Sock'em Robots. You guys remember those? Those were fun to play with. And he had all the great toys because, his dad owned a restaurant, and, he had more money, and he was, I wouldn't say spoiled, but he definitely had more stuff than I did. I would make my own toys. So I'd loved going over to his house, and often as I was getting older, I noticed that I'd be more interested in the guitar in the corner than his toys, where I would pick up the guitar and strum it when his brother wasn't around and stuff like that. And he wouldn't mind me doing that anyway. So, and yeah, I remember it was an Aria guitar, and it sounded really nice. And I think that's when I started getting interested in guitars. And then after that, I think I might have been like 12 or 13 when I begged my mom nonstop to buy me a guitar. And she finally caved in and bought me a guitar and a little amplifier. And the rest is history. So I fall into the category, I would say, my interest started between 5 and 10 years old. But I only actually got my first guitar between 10 and 20. Alex says, love the Jimmy Page Telecaster. Hopefully it'll be a nice final finished product soon, and I'll share it with you guys. Should be fun to build. I always like these guitars. I wouldn't buy one per se, but building one is doable. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I got some work to do on it. I may refinish the neck, because this neck has a more of a vintage tint on it, and you can see the body doesn't have that, so it's kind of mismatched. So I'll probably sand this down and refinish it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So Jean-Pierre says he had the same thing happen yesterday. Woke up at 1:30 a.m. and couldn't fall asleep. Yeah, me too. It's been happening a lot lately. I think it's because I'm taking these supplements. They're called Lion's Mane. Have you guys heard of these? I take these from time to time. They're supposed to help with a whole bunch of things. Cognitive function, brain health, they're supposed to reduce inflammation. They're supposed to do all kinds of things. But whenever I start taking these things, I have weird dreams, really weird dreams. So I must be doing something to my brain as I'm sleeping, because, yeah, very interesting dreams the last few nights, that's for sure. And it wasn't about guitars either. Danielle says, my first awareness of guitars came from seeing early black and white Western movies and Roy Rogers. Wow, that's really cool. I don't remember seeing anybody as a kid that would have inspired me to play guitar other than Elvis Presley, but I never really considered Elvis Presley a guitar player anyway. Marcel says, my philosophy is get a lower priced axe and put good pickups, tuners, nut and bridge. It will cost you about $600 to $800, but it will outshine compared to $1,500 to $2,000 name brand guitars. I kind of agree with you, Marcel. I think that a lot of lower end guitars can be brought up to higher end specs with a little TLC. And I really don't think it's going to cost all that much. Like if you have someone else put your pickups in, tuners, nut, bridge, all that kind of stuff, it might cost you $600 to $800. But honestly, if you do it yourself, it won't cost you that much. You can probably upgrade a guitar if you buy, used parts. Let's say you can substantially improve a guitar for like maybe $300, $350, depending on what you want to put in there. So Mark says he got his first guitar at 5, but didn't start playing till he was 13. Yeah, 13 is the time, man. The hormones are pumping throughout your body, and you need to find that that passion. A lot of us found it in guitars, and it's stuck all this time. I'm gonna be celebrating my birthday. When is it? Is it not tomorrow? It's actually Tuesday, the 15th. Which I'm looking forward to. I'm actually going to be 55, guys. Can't believe it. I'm a little disappointed because I thought I would, when I was young, I'm like, I'm going to be retired by 55. You're right. You're lucky if you can retire by 85 today, the way things are going. Anyways, I'm going to be celebrating a birthday, so it's coming up. I think Jean-Pierre, I think you mentioned, did I see Jean-Pierre mention something very early on? Sorry, I was going so fast. I'm trying to read everything, but I'm scrolling back and forth. And let me just see if I can find that comment. But yeah. So there you go. Jean-Pierre remembered. Jean-Pierre, you have an amazing memory, my friend. Jean-Pierre says, the birthday boy in 2 days, if I remember correctly. You do remember correctly. And I have a hard time remembering my own birthday. So thank you for remembering, dude. Yeah, so that's something coming up. I don't have any big plans. I don't have any big presents. At least not guitar or gear. My wife doesn't get me any guitar or gear because she knows I have that. I have that covered. My kids, on the other hand, they might get me some little, accessories and stuff like that. But really, nothing's required. I'm just happy, to be able to spend time and blow out some candles and have some cake. That's enough for me. That's all I need. So if any of you are celebrating a birthday in October or this week in particular, let us know. Jack says, you're the same age as I am, 55. I don't feel 55. That's the funny thing, Jack. Physically, I feel like I'm 80. Mentally, I feel like I'm 22 or 21. So what does that say? I don't know if you feel the same way as me. It's just something I noticed. And here's a general question to you guys. When are you too old to rock and have, passion for gears and guitar like this? Am I getting too old for this? I'm encouraged by the fact that I see people like, Jimmy Page still doing it. I see people like Keith Richards still doing it. All these old guys, they're still doing it. The Eagles are still touring, and Joe Walsh is still doing it. So I'm gonna keep on doing it. Cushman says, Tony, any experience with Seymour Duncan P90s? And I like the way you wrote the Duncan there, like Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I do have a guitar that has Duncan P90s in it. My Edwards Gold Top. They sound great. They don't have as much bite as some other P90s that I've tried, but these were custom wound P90s. Because some P90s do have a tendency to have a little bit more bite on them. I find the Seymour Duncans, at least the ones I have in that guitar, are a little bit more rounder sounding, which is not necessarily bad. It's just a question of taste. But I like them. Time Surfing Alien made me laugh. He says, bald shredder. He says, bad shredder did a blind test. Expensive V, inexpensive pickups. Very few got it correct. Is it bad shredder or bald shredder? Patrick says he just got a 57. He just got 57. I think he just turned 57 2 weeks ago, and he lived the same thing as you. So Patrick is into the same sort of stuff. Fantastic, Patrick. Just keep it going, my brother. You know, that keeps you young. All this stuff keeps you. I think your passion keeps you young. We're not just born to work and pay taxes, guys. We have to have some fun. Squeeze as much fun as you can in there. As much as you can. Wayne says, I'll be 62 this month, and I'm just getting started. That's fantastic, Wayne, man. That's what I love to hear. There's nothing wrong with that, man. So basically, happy advanced birthday to you, Wayne. Time Surfing Alien says, lots of old farts still rocking. Indeed. I had a comment from NFM here. He says, he started sax. I have to be careful how I read this. I started sax at 5 and I'm playing through about 35. I decided to teach myself guitar about 5 months before COVID. At age 58, playing guitar has opened up music theory and so much more for me. Yeah, and it's and correct me if I'm wrong on this, MF, but isn't it also like such a great psychological therapy? Like I haven't found anything, in my opinion, yet that is better for your mind psychologically than playing music. It's a personal thing, personal expression, but it does something. It releases the dopamines in your brain. It keeps you happy. You know, when life gets you down and you want to like have a release, what's better than cranking up a guitar amplifier and playing the heck out of it? Nothing. Eddie says, I'm trying to thin things down. Sorry for laughing, Eddie. I'm only laughing because I can relate. He says, I'm trying to thin things down, but every time I go to get rid of a piece of gear, I have second thoughts. That's normal, Eddie. That's normal. It's okay to have second thoughts, dude. It happens to me too. And it's funny because there could be a piece of gear that I've had lying in the corner for like months and months and that I don't give a second thought to. But then when I decide to sell it and somebody's interested in it, I'm like, hold on a second. Maybe I'm making a bad decision here. You know, the little voice in your head pops up. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Carry on. And if worse comes to worse and you really want that piece of gear, you can buy it again. Nella says, I'm 64 and I've been enjoying playing my crappy music for 44 years. Sad that I'm not better, but it still gives me joy. It's not about being good or bad, Nella. It's just about having fun. And if you're having fun, you're doing it right. So don't worry about it. Profile Productions says, happy birthday. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Marcel says, look into Rick Korminski's, I don't know if I can pronounce that right, channel for a good music theory well explained. And Mark says, after a weekend of gigs, my body feels old. Looking all that gear. Look, you're getting your workout, Mark. Think of it that way. You know, you're playing your music and you're working out. Plus, hopefully you're getting paid. So, all good. Nala says, I'm truly addicted to gear and that keeps me going. Awesome, dude. That means you're in the right place. Old farts have more stank to them, says Steve. That is true. Nala says, how do you get the comments on the screen? Just curious. Oh, it's magic, Nala. I have a little magic tool here. I just click on your comment in my software and it pops up like that. Mississippi Blues. He's got the right approach here. He says age is irrelevant as long as you enjoy it. Look at it this way, guys. And I don't want to be, somebody that's going to be poo-pooing all the positive thoughts here, but eventually you're gonna not be able to do it anymore, you know, for whatever reason. You know, and it seems like it's far away, but it isn't. It goes really fast. So enjoy it, dude. Enjoy it. I'm trying to squeeze in as much as I can, you know, before things go south. Unfortunately, they will happen. Hopefully I'll be rocking till I'm in an old folks home. Maybe they'll have talent night for the deaf old people there, and I'll be so popular since they won't be able to hear what I'm playing, and I can actually crank my Marshall really loud and nobody will complain. We'll see. We'll see. MF says, agreed regarding all the benefits of guitar and music. I'm sure it's keeping me sharp as I move into my 60s. Since approximately 2019, I've played virtually every day. Dude, that warms my heart, man. That is what I would strive to do. I can't even do that. I can't. I wish I can, but I have so many things going on at the same time, unfortunately. But that should be the goal, to play every single day. It's kind of like going to the gym. Once you get used to it, you miss not holding that guitar in your hands and getting at least, even if it's just 20 minutes, you know, just something to keep you going. You play a little guitar in the morning before going to work, and then you just hum out those tunes throughout the day, and it keeps you going till your day is done and you can go back home and play more guitar. Kind of like a booster shot. That's what I would call it. Marcel wants to know what software I'm using to stream. Technical information, huh? It's called Ecamm Live, Marcel. That's what it is. Jeff says, I've taken a load of gear to the local store for commission sales. I ended up going back to rescue it. It feels like I've bought a new bit of gear. Well, that's a sign. It means that it was meant to be. You know, if you didn't want to get rid of it and you wanted to take it back home, it means you have the right stuff. That's what it is. Hey Charles, how's it going, man? Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. So Time Surfing Alien, SB's commenting on Time Surfing Alien. He's saying sorry about your condition. Hope everything will be fine with it. I missed that, so let me go back. Arthritis, yeah, man. Arthritis is no fun, dude. I had a little bout of arthritis myself at one stage in my hands. Thankfully, it went away. I don't know why it went away. I don't know why it came. It's probably inflammation, dude. Again, I'm not a doctor, but stay away from seed oils, any kind of seed oils, and sugar. And I'm telling you, your arthritis is going to be better. Grapeseed oil, flaxseed oil, sunflower seed oil. That stuff's terrible. It's like poison. Stay away from that. That makes any kind of inflammation worse. Patrick says, I'm late for the show. Is that an EVH Frankie in the back? Dude, you got good eyes. I'm hiding it. Yeah, over there. Over there, that's a Frankie. Yeah, that's a home-built project that I put together. You guys if you want to see it, I'll put down this. This is another project I'm building here. I'll go get the Frankie for you, okay? I've shown this guitar before. You've seen this guitar many times. This is an EVH project that I put together. Kind of an homage to Eddie and his beautiful Frankenstrat. I consider this to be beautiful. Love this guitar. Don't play it enough. This is the only guitar that I still have a Floyd on right now. Actually, no, I lied to you. There's this one and there's a Harley Benton that has a Floyd style guitar. This is an original Floyd, by the way. This is an original Floyd Rose, an early 80s model. That was gracefully sent to me by one of our our um, our viewers here, and I am so happy to basically be able to put an original Floyd Rose on this guitar. It just kind of made it right. And I'm constantly tweaking this guitar. I don't consider it to be finished yet, but it's a great guitar. I don't think it's in tune. Maybe it is. I haven't played this guitar in such a long time. Let me just grab my cable for a second. Keep on chatting, guys. Chat amongst yourselves. Don't stop. Holy moly. There we go. It's probably not in tune. Maybe it's close to being in tune. I love the gurgle. You can only do that on certain type of Floyd Rose systems. Marcel wants to know what's in the middle pickup cavity. Ah, Marcel, you don't know the story behind the Frankenstrat. Basically, Marcel, if you do your research on Eddie Van Halen's guitar, Eddie Van Halen wasn't... he built this guitar from parts. Not this guitar, but his guitar from parts. And he put in a neck pickup here and a bridge pickup. And he wanted to basically, I guess, have them both on. And he wasn't able to figure out the wiring. So the middle thing is the actual switch, the 5-way switch, which he basically just wrapped and stuffed in the cavity in the middle position because he couldn't figure it out. So the neck pickup here was never active on his guitar. He was only using that one. So he didn't really need this anymore. So he just shoved it in there to be out of the way. And that's why there's only one knob. It's just volume, no tone, and that's it. And that's kind of the magic of his guitar. It was one pickup, straight pipe. A lot of people know about that, but I guess if you're not an Eddie Van Halen connoisseur, you might not have known. Patrick says, Tony, the guitar is beautiful. Great job. Thank you, man. Thanks. I even went as far as to put in the coin. You need a 1971 quarter here. See this guy here? Some of you might not know about this, but Eddie used this 25-cent quarter and shoved it underneath the bridge like that so that he can hardtail it. And then when he didn't want to use it, he would just move it out of the way like that. And his guitar has the exact American 1971 quarter. I think that's where all the mojo comes from. Yeah, complete with the quarter. That's right. Jimmy wants to know, Jimmy McKee, and I think Jimmy's new around here. Hey, welcome, Jimmy. Do you think I could fit a Graphtec Piazzo in a Schecter Sun Valley with a Sustainiac? I'd swap the EMG for a passive to use the battery box. That is a pretty technical question, dude. Okay, first of all, I don't want to lead you down the wrong path because I'm not really a connoisseur of the Sun Valley. So let me take a look. I can probably answer the question if I just look. If anybody here has already done this type of a mod and wants to answer Jimmy's question, please do. All right, so I'm looking at the guitar here. the Sun Valley. Now, just to make sure I'm looking at the right one, it is the one with the Floyd, right? The Super Shredder, is that the one that you have? If you have a Floyd in there, I don't think you can put in a Piazzo. I don't think so, man. Maybe. Depends on what kind. But you're talking about a Graphtec Piazzo? It's going to be tricky. Let me just see something here. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I want to say you could, but I'm not sure you're going to have enough room. I would say bring it to a tech first, just to make sure. I wouldn't want you to go spend money on additional hardware just to figure out that it won't fit. That's quite a mod. I'm not really sure. Sorry, dude. I'll leave it up to someone else to answer that question, because I don't want to say yes, and then people are gonna bark at me, say, Tony, you gave me the wrong information. Vinny says it could work. Graphtec has a Floyd Ghost system. See, that's something I wasn't aware of. A Floyd Ghost system might be the ticket here. Let me see here. See, the reason I can't answer this question is because I don't really play around with Piazzo pickups all that much. I don't even have a Sustainiac in any of my guitars. But I'm looking at the Floyd Rose Ghost pickup. Oh, yeah, it's $454. Holy mackerel. Here, let me share with you guys, because there you go. Can you see that? Oh, let me just get rid of this. There we go. So this is the Ghost Bridge. LB63 Floyd Rose style bridge. $454. Wow. Okay. But it's a drop-in ghost loaded replacement for a Floyd Rose original and licensed bridge in 3 finishes. I'm not sure how it works, but interesting. This guy says good quality and it comes with everything needed to replace the original Floyd Rose. However, the main screw that holds the bridge to the body and adjusts its height is too thin for the original sleeve. And the sleeve provided is too thin for the hole in the guitar body. Unfortunately, the original screw had to be used and its color is different than the Graphtec bridge that he bought. Okay. Well, look, dude, that's an option. Interesting. Something I haven't considered before. So that's cool. I think we learned something new today. That can be something for a future project that I might want to try. Silver Bushman says, so you guys have Thanksgiving a month earlier than the United States. It seems to be the case. Yeah, we like to be different. Vinny's World says, if you look at how Schecter installs the Sustainiac board, you'll see they left you with almost no space. That's my concern. That was my main concern there, is the space requirements. So you might get stuck. I'm not sure. I still would bring it to a tech just to make sure. That's an expensive bridge, man. If you're spending $500 on a bridge, you want to make sure it works. So I went, as I mentioned, I went to Long and McQuaid yesterday. I had to buy some stuff. I was looking for a cable. I needed a speaker cable, and not a guitar cable, a speaker cable. I don't know if you guys know the difference between why you should not use a guitar cable as a speaker cable. Do you guys know this? I'm sure you guys do. Because when you're using gear, a lot of you might just take a regular guitar lead and plug your amplifier into your cabinet with a guitar lead like that. It's not recommended. I don't know if it's actually really going to do any damage, but they don't recommend it. The reason why is because the thin wires inside a guitar cable can overheat and could actually fail because of the high power being transmitted. So if that happens, you could damage the cabinet, not the cabinet, but the head unit of the amplifier. And the shielding on a guitar cable can cause signal degradation also over time, and even short circuit the amp, leading to potential damage. Because if you're playing an amp and you're not plugged into a cabinet, you can actually cause issues with the amp. So you don't want that to happen. It usually won't, nothing will happen if everything's working, but if you do happen to get a short with the shielding, or if the wires do overheat, you can damage the amp, and you don't want that to happen. So it's always safe and optimal practice to use a dedicated speaker cable. And the difference between that and your guitar amplifier, your guitar lead, is it's usually thicker. They're just a thicker gauge, a beefier gauge. They're made slightly different. So I like to follow those practices. I don't want to have any issues, especially if you're going through something like an aux box into something like that. You don't want to damage that stuff. It could be very expensive. So anyways, I went over to Long and McQuaid yesterday, and I was taking a look around. I figured, since I'm here, I might as well take a look. And they were having this massive sale, some kind of a promotion where you don't pay the interest on your purchase for a year or whatever, 0 interest. So they had the flags out and everything. But I took a look around, and I was quite disappointed. I have to say, there was nothing interesting, man. I looked at all the guitars, and I'm like, the ones that I found nice were $5,000 to $6,000. They had a few really nice PRS guitars, $5,000 to $6,000. I wasn't really interested in the Les Pauls because I have mine. Wasn't really interested in the SGs because I have mine. Strats, meh. There wasn't anything that really stood out to me, unfortunately. And then I looked at the prices, and I'm like, man, I'm really glad that I grabbed my guitars when I did, because everything's so expensive, and they're not necessarily better. So I wasn't. I just basically walked in, took a look around, grabbed the cable, left, and that's about it. So it's kind of sad that we're getting to this stage where there's nothing new, nothing interesting. The only new thing that I actually heard about, and this is actually something that you won't necessarily see in at Long and McQuaid, is the fact that Fractal is coming, or it seems to be that Fractal is teasing a new unit. There's been some buzz about this unit on the internet. It's called the VP4 apparently. And what it is it's a small unit, compact unit, which is basically, it's going to act like a pedal board. So instead of having a full-blown Fractal where you're going to be doing amp modeling, cabinets, speakers, and all that kind of thing, it's only going to be effects. Which sounds interesting to me, because if anybody out there is gigging and you have a whole bunch of effects and pedals that you're bringing with you all the time, this could be an interesting option. I don't know what the price is. It's still just in teaser mode right now. I don't really know too many details about it. It's been kind of hush hush, but I do think it's real because the user manual has been leaked. So usually if the user manual exists, it means the product is coming. So it's going to be interesting. I'm sure we're going to hear all about it in a few weeks probably. It's probably going to be all over the internet. A lot of people that review gear like me probably will have something to show. I don't have anything yet, but I'm interested in hearing about it. Something I might grab. I don't know. We'll see. It's always nice to have a smaller solution. I'm just going back on the notes here on the comments. Presley says that Vega Trim should make one, but it would cost $40,000. Come on, Presley, $40,000. It's going to be way more expensive than that. But I agree with you. If they would come out with one, smaller version, smaller profile would be pretty cool. And probably would be at least $40,000. Nella says there's an external battery for use with active pickups. It costs about $50. Plug the guitar cable into it, then out to the amp and pedal board. And Dan says it's all about the gauge of the wire. It is. That's exactly it. Presley's got a roll. Hey, Presley, thank you for stopping in. Appreciate that. Paul, where's the pedal suggestion of the day? Did I miss it? You usually have something ready to roll. Did you mention it early on and I just missed your comment? Can you please retype it in? I always look forward to Paul's suggestions when it comes to pedals and stuff. He's our resident pedal guru. So every show he's got something to share with us. So I look forward to that. Nella says guitar cables are high impedance and shielded. Amp cables are low impedance and not shielded. In a nutshell, that's correct, Nella. Thank you for sharing that. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. Silver Bushman said my Spark amp had a ground problem with my cable. I had to have a guitar plug insert, then it worked. Okay. Had to use. Okay. Yeah. This is what I mean. It doesn't always happen, but it could happen. Time Serving Alien says I'm addicted to gear, but my budget is anorexic. It's not about budget, dude. Just about, finding good deals. I always shop. I shop like crazy. Shane wants to know if I use an EQ pedal. Yes, I do. I always have an EQ pedal on my board, Shane. It's I can't speak. Calm down. Let's not get excited. It's an inexpensive Joyo EQ pedal that's basically a clone of an MXR pedal. And you need an EQ pedal on your board if you're playing in a live situation. Eddie says, Tony, my Yamaha THR has, for some unknown reason, become extremely noisy. Should I try a noise gate in front of a modeler, or am I an idiot? Perhaps your modeler already has a noise gate built into it, Eddie, depending on which one you're using. You can use a noise gate. It wouldn't necessarily hurt, but you would have to set it so it's very subtle. You don't want to go crazy and just crank everything down. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's I've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. I think that's enough for today. What do you guys think? I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you guys stopping by and sharing your weekly new acquisitions and guitar stories with me. I had a great time. Thank you for participating in the poll question And I hope you guys do take the time to watch the review of the new Donner guitar. Check it out. You might want to grab one, like I mentioned. And there's a lot of great stuff coming this week as well. I have some other stuff for you to share. So please tune in to this channel and keep tuning in. I hope you guys are finding it enjoyable. Paul, oh yeah, almost forgot. Paul, you gotta... So Paul's suggestion of the day, he says, the more Pitchbox Digitech drop clone, but ever fatter for drop tuning. AliExpress, 37 bucks USD, including free shipping. Very cool. So if you guys are looking for that drop tuning tone, you might want to check it out. Very nice. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. All right, guys. So for everybody that's celebrating Thanksgiving tomorrow, have a happy Thanksgiving. Please don't overdo the gravy. That's always a no-no. Make sure you don't get too sleepy after all that turkey. I'm going to be around this week, and hopefully I'll be able to post another video this week. So stay tuned for that. And I'll be back next Sunday with another show. So please mark it on your calendar. Addicted to Gear, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, Sunday in the AM. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. Have a great week, guys. Enjoy yourself. Go and play your gear. See you soon.